Okay, we're starting the demo. Hooray! So, like I had mentioned just a second ago, you're gonna, for Thursday, take your two mailbox sketch models, choose one of them, and take it to the next level. We're gonna talk sort of individually about some details that you can add. A lot of the stuff that we talked about in sketch class is the kind of stuff that you're going to be trying to accomplish in Solidworks, namely trying to figure out how your moving parts are supposed to actually work in this 1/4 inch plywood, how things are supposed to join together, and to sort of help with this process, part 2 of You've Got Mail is choosing one of your models, taking it as far as you can using your sketching and Solidworks in assemblies, and then exporting geometry from that model so that you can print it out from a program like Adobe Illustrator and make a foam core model, a foam core mock-up of your mailbox. The foam core mock-up is something in the past that I've used to kind of double check how I think things should go together, and it's a good tool to figure out like tricky joints and test out things that are supposed to bend or move or slide next to each other before you actually do a final laser cutting. So I'm going to open up one of the assemblies that we used last time and do just a quick demo today about how you can create a drawing from your 2D parts. From your 3D parts, you're going to create a 2D drawing and then export that in a format that we can use in Adobe Illustrator. Again, this is a pretty technical little demo, and hopefully having a reference online will be useful to you guys moving forward. So here's my model. It hasn't changed since last time, but this is what I'm going to use for a demo here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. 7 parts. So this process that I'm going to show you is something you will probably have to do for each of the parts, each of the different parts in your model. Some of them might be the same. Obviously, you wouldn't have to do it twice for a part that's identical. So I'm going to start with this yellow part. I'm in an assembly file. I actually opened the assembly file, and you can tell because I have this assembly tab open. I've got a whole bunch of part files in my feature tree, and the first thing I'm going to do is choose a part, either from the feature tree or out in the viewport, and open that part. So we're going to actually open the part file for what was a yellow part here. And you can see, okay, there's my part. In order to grab 2D geometry from this part, I'm going to do something that we haven't done before, and that is up in the File menu, and it's called Make Drawing from Part. So if you didn't see that the first time, it's up here, File, Make Drawing from Part. And you're going to get a couple menus that pop up here. Because our intention with making this drawing is to just save out the geometry in any old format and bring it into Adobe Illustrator to deal with how it's going to fit on the page, it doesn't really matter which format you pick here. These formats are all like presets with little information blocks for doing like actual dimensioned drawings that engineers or tooling people will use to make things for real. I believe you can find, if you don't want a standard sheet size, you can just put in like 11 by 17 inches or something like that, a paper size that you know you're going to try and get to eventually. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to type in custom sheet size, 17 inches wide, 11 inches tall, because I know that's something I would be able to print on, and hit OK. Okay, so in the viewport here, it's not 3D anymore. It's actually like a sheet of paper. And you'll notice over on the, let me make this full size. On the right side, there's this view palette that opens up. I'm going to grab whatever view looks like I'm seeing the whole object from the laser's perspective here. In this case, a front view would do it. I'm going to click and drag it out onto my, I guess, canvas. And you'll notice if you keep moving your mouse around without like clicking and dragging, you can actually place multiple views of this object all at the same time. Really, we just want to place the one view. And for now, without changing scale or anything, I'm going to say green check mark, OK. All right, let's zoom in here. You'll notice off in my feature tree, I can still open a few carets and see all of the history in my part. So if for some reason I wanted to, and I know a few people who still work from drawings to create a 3D part, kind of a different way of working. I've never actually done it that way. You can. I noticed that I see a couple different types of lines, right? I've got this black outline, which is sort of the outline that I want. And I have a bunch of these like little gray lines. I think they're probably from some of the sketches that I have unused in my part. These like master front sketch things. I can like right click things in my feature tree and hide them and see if it gets rid of those lines that I don't want to see. Awesome, it did. This is the only outline that I really want because that's the line that I'm going to use to laser cut and eventually laser cut, and right now use to cut out a film core part. You can also, I believe, pick any line just by clicking on it, right click and say hide, and it will also hide lines that you don't want to see. So first step after you bring in the view of your part that you want to see is get rid of any lines that you don't want to print. The next part is going to be making sure that this object is the right scale. So we designed it in millimeters. I want to make sure that it shows up on the page at the right scale. In order to change that or to double check it, you don't have to be in the part view itself. You just want to click somewhere. See this orange box that pops up with the drawing view? I'm going to click somewhere inside that box, and I should see I guess, one menu item that says scale. And right now you can kind of see it's grayed out. It says I'm at 1:2 scale. I'm at half scale. So if I were to print this out, it would actually be half the size of the part as I actually designed it. So to change it, I'm going to say use a custom scale and pick 1:1. And this drawing should get larger on my page. Once it's the right scale, I'll say green checkmark, OK. And that's about as far as you guys need to take it for this like quick mock-up process that we're talking about. I have my geometry here. Now all I got to do is export it in a format that Adobe Illustrator can read. And I believe, fortunately, I think I can save it as an Illustrator file. Yeah, check it out, Illustrator file, cool. Box side B, it is an Illustrator file. I might say like drawing just as a reference in the part name, like, yeah, that's the drawing of part side B, or box side B. I'll save it. And that's it. If you want, you can actually save this file as a like Solidworks drawings file. Not super necessary right now unless you think you're going to go back into your part and change things and you want the drawing to update. That's something that can happen. Like if I went back, made changes to this 3D part, and then went over to my drawing, the drawing would update, which is kind of cool. So, all right, I got one drawing. I'm going to do one more for you guys, just so that you can see how I combine everything in Illustrator. I did my yellow part. Looks like I have 2 of those. So I'll pick this red part too. Click it, open the part. There's the part. Go up, save file, make a drawing from this part. Pick a custom sheet size. It looks like it kept 11 by 17. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Go over to my view palette that popped up. Pick a view that looks like the view that I want. I don't need any other views, so I'll say, yep, okay, green check mark. Get rid of some of these extra lines, so you can right-click them and say hide. It looks like that did it for me. And click somewhere inside the view, double-check the scale. It looks like, this scale, it is actually 1:1, so I don't have to change it. I'll just say green check mark. Save this one as an Illustrator file as well. I might change the name to say drawing. And pretty quick. Once you guys have your parts all done, this process is tedious, but it's not that bad. All right, so I've got 2 parts done. You guys will go through and do all of your parts. let's go find those. Here are the drawings. The next thing you want to do is open Adobe Illustrator, which, again, I hope you guys all have. If you don't, I'm sure all of these computers in here have it, and like most of the computers in the design office should have it too. I would start a new file and pick a sheet size that is something that you know you're going to be able to print on. Is there like a tabloid printer here? Can you print 11 by 17? Yeah. Okay. So we'll just do that. Create a new file, and this is not really an Adobe Illustrator tutorial. It is a program I'm very familiar with, so if you guys end up having questions about it, feel free to ask. But what I am going to show you is how to bring these things in. So the easiest way, because I already exported them as Illustrator files, is just to like open it in Illustrator. There's no fonts. Oh, funny. Ha! It says educational product for educational use only. Fun. Don't sell this. Copy it over to your other file, and it should be the right scale. The best way to check is to like draw a line that's like a known dimension. If you click a line, I think, of course it's not showing it. Oh, there we go. There should be a statistic somewhere that says like how wide that line is. You can go back into Solidworks and make sure it's the same. It should be the same. As long as you export it at 1:1 scale, it should be fine. So there's one part. Yeah. Here's another part. Fortunately, Solidworks like groups everything together, which is great. Once you have all of your parts together, you might want to arrange them in a way that makes sense to you. And sometimes, I mean, you can print it out as a line. Sometimes I'll print it out as, instead of having a line, I'll print these parts out as just like a light gray, which apparently is not working. Are these not closed shapes? Cool. If you guys don't know, okay, let me back up. It looks like maybe Solidworks exports this as a group of not connected lines. You can use the shape builder tool to connect all of those lines kind of magically. If you've never done that, just pick your group. Actually, let's find out if that's true. I'm going to ungroup that and just see if that's the case. No. Weird. Why doesn't it let me put like a fill in there? It's so strange. Anyway, shape builder tool is your friend. Shift M, I don't know where it is in the menu. Shift M opens up shape builder tool, and you can just like combine things magically. I don't know, it's a wonderful tool. Sorry I don't have like a better demo about that, but shape builder is awesome. Print your stuff out in some sort of like light gray color, and that way you've got it. That you guys, I'm sure, know how to print, right? That's as simple as this whole process is. So that's what I'm asking you guys to do. Once you tweak your model, export everything into Illustrator. You're going to print everything out from Illustrator, bring it with you to class on Thursday. By then, we should have a bunch of foam core. Definitely bring like a cutting mat, bring a like X-Acto, bring a lot of extra blades if you don't already have those, and we'll spend the class period doing SolidWorks things and also trying to get through this foam mock-up. All right? That's it. Any questions on that process before I kill the demo? No? All right. Cool. I would save your like printout file. I will probably have you guys turn that in also. If anything, it's just another place that it's saved in case things explode on your end. It's always nice to have an extra copy. I'm going to save this as like composite drawing. This same process is the one that you guys are going to use to make the toolpath for the laser cutter. The laser cutter accepts a single file of vector art like this. So if you guys figure out how this whole process works this time. It'll be easy for you to set up the file for laser. All right, so I'm going to close out of all this stuff. Kill the stream.